way it goes. Just the way it goes. Degrees.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Hookup on Music podcast. Tonight, we have a special episode as well, always. Let me bring out my guest here. The very couple times we've talked, it was about movies, but today I'm very excited because we're going to talk about music. How are you today, Keelin?
Good. How are you, Tony?
Doing good.
Good. I love all your graphics. They're amazing.
Well, thank you. I started all of this and I've known nothing. So, and now at this point, I've getting somewhere. And because like my degrees, like I can come up with slogans and stuff like that. But the computer side, it's all been brand new to me. So I really appreciate that makes it. And I appreciate you coming on tonight. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. I always love chatting with you. Always a fun time. Always good topics.
We're gonna have a blast tonight. Have a lot of cool stuff planned. Really quick though, before we get started on what we're going to do, what I always like to ask is, what's something that you've been listening to this week?
Oh man, that's a good question. So I'm not gonna lie, I always love that's not true. I do love Spotify Discover Weekly just because usually there's something new there. Mm-hmm. So let me see from this week what I've been into. It's been serving me a lot of like jazz lately, which has been interesting.
That's the one thing is like, and I could see by some of these albums that you picked, you could go all over and listen to different things, and that's how I am. I'm not.
It's all over the place. There has been an Alan Toussaint song that it keeps serving me, and it's called I think it's called Ether. Oh. And it's super good.
I'm definitely gonna write that one down.
Very mellow. I don't know. It's good for a lot of different moods. So.
Well, that's after a long day. I need something that's mellow, but maybe a little something too. It sounds. Yeah. And Alan Toussaint always really does a lot of different and awesome stuff.
Yeah, I feel like he's a good fit for this podcast.
He is. And that's what's awesome is that the albums that you picked to discuss, you're coming in a whole different perspective that we haven't had on the show yet. And that's what's awesome is that I almost didn't want you to tell me, like I said, because I could handle anything. And so when you put it out, and I was like, oh yeah, okay. So, and that's what it's about, switching it up and different kind of musical perspectives and as such. But I had you pick 5 of your favorite albums, and they were really awesome.
Tall order.
It is a tall order, and it all I know depends on the day too. Like if you asked me and the roles were reversed, it would probably be what I had been listening to most recently. When in like a week I'd be different and switch it.
Yeah, up. I know that's the thing. When you asked that, I was like, damn, that's tough because exactly that. And I do want to give a shout out. It's this is my 5 favorite albums for now, but I do want to say The first album, like my own I ever had. I think it was like my 10th birthday or something like that, and I got to choose one CD, and I was choosing between Dave Matthews Band and Spice Girls, and I went with Spice Girls, and I
Oh,
think that was the right
Spice
decision.
World or
It
the
was
first
Spice
one?
World. It was
Spice
Spice
World.
World.
All right. Yeah.
Best
I,
decision I've ever made. So
I had to go to the movies with my sisters and see the movie. So that's what it's all about, is the experiences. And in other cases, that's the thing too, is we could spend all half hour talking about the Spice Girls and Spice World and that, but that's a good first album though. I mean, my very first album was Vanilla Ice. So
amazing.
it's on tap or on par. MC Hammer was second, and then I got those pants that my mom made me wear because she thought they were cool. I'd have MC Hammer pants, and like just really ridiculous. The fads back then were a lot of good time.
They were good. They were good. It was a fun time.
But one of the first albums that you picked was the Dr. Octagon album,
Yes.
which Dr. Octagonecologyst, which is really hard to say a bunch of times fast. I was practicing before coming on there. I didn't do too well, but it's a
I
classic.
think you held up there.
Thank
Yeah.
you, thank you,
Yeah.
thank you. It's crazy because I'm thinking back to those magazine articles, and I mean that's all the way back in '96. So like this album it's lasted through time. It's a good
Yeah.
album.
Yeah, I feel like it's really held up. I feel I mean, Cool Keith is just super weird in a good way for the most part.
Yes.
And I feel like this is really, I love like when artists have alter egos and have these entire storylines. Like it brings out sort of I don't know, is there such a thing as like, I mean, I know that we have rock operas. I feel like this is like a hip hop opera,
Yeah,
like the
it
whole
sure
thing.
is.
Like you could
Yeah.
absolutely make an entire movie out of this. And I don't know, I feel like it doesn't get as much love as it deserves, even though it's
No.
aged amazingly. And I actually saw him perform this entire album,
Wow.
I think a year and a half ago, and it was awesome. And it was a very small crowd, and he was saying some weird things about COVID at the time. And I still am like, was that like an act or not? But
Was that part of the act, or was that
yeah, I have
not?
no idea. Not good for a doctor necessarily to say, but
Not good for a doctor.
yeah, but it
No,
was
you're
awesome.
absolutely right. You're right.
I guess he's a space doctor, so
He is. I'm a big Parliament Funkadelic fan, so I know a lot about space, and it seems like he comes from a lot of that same. You
yeah.
know, he and for an album, I'm looking at it here. I mean, for a hip hop album, it's 65 minutes, and that's a pretty good, solid, long album. Not to say that I know there are others that are that length, but I like that it was a good pick to pick because it's needs to be talked about more.
It does. And if one person listens to it,
Well,
then
that's what this is about, is to get people to listen to some of these classics. So I know, especially like as you stated, one that needs to be played no matter
yeah,
what kind of music you listen to, really.
I definitely feel like that's one that, one day, if not, I mean, I'm sure this happens all the time. Somebody's parent or, uncle, aunt, somebody like that is going to be like, listen to this, or they're just going to hear it and it's just going to blow their mind.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
that's very, very true. Another album that you picked was Space is the Place.
Yeah, I have a theme.
And
theme going
I
with
like this theme. This is Sun Ra, which
Sun
is
Ra.
very. I'm a all drums and bass and stuff like that, and like not like drum and bass like boom, like I'm actually talking about people actually playing drums
Yeah.
and bass and stuff like that, and these are excellent picks for that.
Yeah. And I picked this one because, man, I don't know. It's just, again, it's another one that I feel like holds up and is just very weird, but also in the same vein makes a ton of sense because it's like cinematic. There's actually there's a movie, Space is a Place, that is crazy. And I think it's available on YouTube, or at least parts of it are. But it's awesome. And Definitely has some, I think it has some earworms in there that if you listen to, you'll definitely have stuck in your head. And then just in general, I think Sun Ra is like such an interesting guy. I He was born in Alabama, which I'm from Alabama, so I'm sure we had a
Oh,
very, very
that's,
different experience because he was born in like 1914 and is a
yeah,
black man, so that's
yeah,
obviously going to be way different.
yeah,
But I think
definitely.
it's pretty incredible thinking about that. Like this guy was born in Alabama in 1914.
Did you go back to Alabama at all ever?
Not anymore. I don't think I've been since like, geez, I don't know, maybe 2014. So it's been a
Oh,
long
but
time.
still,
Yeah.
I mean, I've never been. So I mean,
Yeah.
that's another, as you stated, it's a different experience. It's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, it
Music
is.
and everything like that from there.
Yeah. Anybody creative that comes from Alabama, especially from like a previous era, is always
Yeah, yeah, not today's
extremely,
era. Yeah, definitely.
yeah, it's extremely impressive to me. Especially, if they're a person of color, it's always like, damn, good for you.
This is the thing that kind of blows my mind about this album is 2 days. That's all it took to record it. 2 days, and it was recorded in Chicago. I don't.
Amazing.
I have to do some investigating because I've never heard of the Streeterville Recording Studio because I'm curious to see where that was or where that is to see if I mean that would be. I'm the type of person that like stands outside somewhere and looks and can
Yeah.
imagine the recording going on inside and be like, wow, that's really awesome. And I'll go anywhere to see that. I'll any place to see that kind of magic.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. No, and it is pretty impressive. Like, I actually saw the Sun Ra Orchestra play in Chicago.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to remember. That was pre-COVID, and they were. I mean, it was incredible. It was a really good experience. The lighting was awesome. They were wearing cool outfits, and yeah, I could see how they recorded it quickly because I mean, it was just like
Yeah.
very, very on top of it.
Well, that's what it was back then. You plugged in, you jammed, and you caught the jam, and the jam was better than sitting in the studio for days and going over the same lick over and over and over again. So
Yeah, yeah,
definitely a good pick for that. Um, and that kind of goes into the I don't want to mispronounce it. Is it the Budos band? Did I
it
get it?
is.
Okay,
Yes.
yes. Another really awesome, diverse, lots of different things going on, which
Yeah.
is what I like in my music.
Yeah. So I was just talking about these guys the other day because they're fully instrumental from New York. I think, let's see, I'm looking now. They describe themselves as Afro soul, Afro funk, which is definitely in there. It feels, I guess, I love listening to them when I'm driving because it feels like you're on an adventure.
Get your going. Oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, it's instrumental and um, I love a good trumpet. So there's a lot
You
of
ever
that
hear
in
of
there.
they're called the Beta Band?
I have.
But
Yeah.
that's why when you said it, I was like, oh, the Budos band. That's kind of cool because it's like the Beta Band, but it's the Budos band. I like that.
Yeah. Dang, that's kind of a throwback too. I don't think
It
I've
is. It,
like
it
heard about
really
them in
is,
a
and
while.
that's why with music, you just look down and I see Budos and I think Beta, and then oh well, there's another conversation about music. This is how it was like in class in school, and they'd be like, "Quiet, Tony," and I'd be like, "I'm just talking about music back here. I mean, that's all we're doing."
Yeah, yeah, definitely. No, I love that. And I think, for this band, one thing that they sound awesome on their own, but one really interesting thing I like about them is that um, they played with Charles Bradley,
Mm,
RIP,
yes.
sometimes. And you can tell, like, when you listen across his album and their albums, you're like, oh, yeah, this is definitely these guys.
Yeah, definitely. And that's what's cool is that I love when a band like that's instrumental can hook up with, well, Charles Bradley, someone who is really awesome
Yeah.
and, a legend.
Yeah.
Because it's a kind of a throwback in the old days. They kind of did that in the 70s and the 60s a lot more. A singer and then would hook up with kind of like an instrumental band and do some stuff. So
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
cool.
It is great because you really get the best of both worlds. And I will say too, I haven't had a record player for a few years now because quite frankly, I had a crappy one and it was bulky, and I was like, it was like a Crosley or something. But I feel like once I get one again, these albums
Would be
from the
one.
Budos band they're like, the sound is incredible.
That's one thing I'm all about. As long as you can get the music any way you could get it into your ears, that's what it's about. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, I don't really collect that many albums, and I got more CDs than I do albums, and it's just the way it is. And then now digitally, like with Spotify and stuff like that,
Yeah.
it's how you can listen to it, really.
Yeah.
You
Agreed.
know,
I love the accessibility. I feel like
well,
that's
that's when you're running around getting the album out.
yep.
I had this whole like stand-up comedy sketch thing where like someone's driving, but they got like a record player and they're trying to get like the records out of the sleeve and put them on the dashboard, and it skips, and but it's something that's like quiet at home, when you're, but it's on the go sometimes. But
Like when you want to be in your feels, you want to be
yeah,
vibing.
yeah, that's exactly it. That is
That's record
exactly
player
it.
time.
And that's speaking about in your feels, you got the desert sessions, which
Desert
right
sessions.
right off the bat I knew exactly what that was. That's pretty good. That's really good
Yes.
stuff.
Yeah. So, for anyone that does happen to listen and doesn't know, Desert Sessions is a bit of I almost called it a super group, but then I saw that they call themselves a collective, which I was like,
Mhm.
that makes more sense.
Yeah,
So it is Josh Homme from Queens of the Stone Age, which is where most people are going to know him from. And then just a various sort of revolving door of artists people may not heard of. Bjork, didn't know, or does that say Bjork or Brant Bjork? Well, I don't know. PJ Harvey's there on the
PJ Harvey.
most recent one. Even like Matt Berry was on there, which was completely weird, but also wonderful because I love him. But yeah, I love this album because this is one that I listened to like right at the beginning of COVID a lot.
Mhm.
That it was just like, keeping me from thinking too much about stuff. And it too is like diverse in terms of the different
It is.
songs. Yeah, it's like all over the place in songs. Some are kind of sad, some are funny. Like the Chic the Chic Tweets song is amazing.
Oh yeah,
Um, yeah, it makes me
we got to have some humor, like, as we you got to be weird, humorous. That's some of my favorite songs are the ones that are really like out there.
yeah.
you know
Yeah, definitely. Same here. And I'm always looking for songs that I can run to,
Yeah,
like
well,
when
that's
when
good
I,
too, and that
yeah,
stuff is really good for that.
yeah, I agree. Yeah, some of the songs on there are like that Move Together song and Crucifier are super, super good for running.
That's true. Very true. And then you got this newest album that came out it came out in 2019, or not 2022, I mean, is Wet Leg.
Yeah,
That is a really, really, really good album and a really, really good band.
they are so good. They're amazing. Yeah, so I think the first song I heard from this album was the Chase Lounge song, and I was like, what is this? Like, when you hear a song and you're like, I don't know what this is or who this is, but I love
Yeah,
it and need to know.
yeah,
So I was obsessed from the beginning. Um, I think it's cool. It's two girls
yeah.
that lead this band, and all of their songs are so funny. The lyrics are very like self-aware. Um, I think one thing in music that I personally am always super, I love to hear, but we don't really hear a lot about, is like women and sexuality. Like, of course there is that in music.
Yeah,
It's the music business, like sex sells
yeah,
everywhere.
definitely. No, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, and I think they talk about things in a way that's like very like relatable, accessible, like most women, or at least maybe not most women, I don't know.
No, you're not.
I'm
You're
only
not
one
wrong.
woman. I only know
Oh
me.
yeah, well that's true, but it is your perspective, so that's what's awesome is that from your perspective, I think you're right on target, really.
Yeah, they have some funny lyrics, about like seduction and stuff like that. So, and I'm pretty sure Yeah, Harry Styles covered one of their songs, which I thought was very interesting. It's not as good as their version, but good for him for
Yeah, that's true. That is absolutely true.
good for him for doing that, to bringing awareness to this wonderful, wonderful band.
Well, we've mentioned it a couple times, kind of more of like ridiculous songs, ridiculous, more out there type of songs, funny songs, whatever kind of song. I mean, there's many, many, many different kinds of songs, but that's what's cool is like you said, is well, they're fun. Like Devo's Whip It right there. I mean, as soon as you hear it, you just go, well, it's Devo's Whip It. Ridiculous.
Yeah, it is ridiculous. It's goofy. Also, just like the mental image it brings
Oh,
of the hats and the
oh yeah.
whip. It's very, very funny. Yeah, I love that.
Well,
It's
I've
like,
often been empathetic to imagine if I was in Devo, like how cool or crazy or sweaty or whatever it would have been on stage wearing all that stuff, every single night, which, plays into, I guess, the fun and all of that.
yeah, definitely. Also, I love this graphic of this frog.
I know, it's I'm like looking for graphics. I'm like, this frog is kind of cool and it's ridiculous. And speaking of cool and ridiculous, one of the things the first time that we came together was this right here. And what I always do with these songs, honestly, is think of like I'm throwing like this ultimate 80s party, and this is like what's blasting through the speakers, and everyone's just having a good time. You know what I mean? And that's what that song means to me. And it's an awesome ending to a movie. You include the
Yeah,
lyrics, with the name of the movie in the song.
yeah, definitely. I think good movie slash funny song
Oh
crossover
yeah.
is definitely uh, James Brown from Rocky.
Oh yes. Living in America. Oh yeah. I got the whole video in my head. You don't like, and that's like from a young age, you don't ever forget.
Yeah,
You don't forget
he's just like, yeah.
oh yeah. Anytime you could also take a song and like move it into the title of the movie, like I won't forget Deep Blue Sea. LL Cool J does a song and it's like deepest, bluest. My head is like a shark's fin. That's the theme. But you're saying to yourself, like, they come to him telling him they want a shark song, and this is it. Deepest,
Write
bluest. My
something.
head is like a shark's fin.
We work with what we have.
That's it. That is
Yeah,
absolutely true.
or like your Vanilla Ice
That's true too.
for Ninja Turtles.
Ninja rap, of course. That's
Incredible.
you talk about, how big that was at the time, Bat Dance, Prince, you
Oh
know,
my God! Yeah, yeah.
those type of
Um,
ridiculousness.
I love Party Man. That
Oh yeah.
is like my
Oh yeah.
favorite.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I feel
Definitely.
like that's up there with. I don't. It is goofy, but it's genuinely a good song.
It is. It is definitely really, really good. And that's, you want to smile and laugh, and that's what these songs do. Do you got another one by chance off the top of your thing?
So this may be unexpected. I don't know. We'll see.
Mhm.
And it's not a movie related song.
Mhm.
So when I haven't, he's not dead. I have an older brother.
Mhm.
He's about, I think he's 6 or 7 years older than me. So basically, when I was in like third grade, I would know everything, all the songs and stuff. A high schooler would know, which I think it had helped develop my musical taste a ton, but also it got me in, I was listening to a lot of pretty bad stuff for a little kid. So the Easy E song, Gimme That Nut, is one that I remember
That
hearing.
is definitely would fit in this category.
Yeah, and I mean, I liked it because of the beat, but then I mean, obviously, I was listening to these lyrics and I was like, "Whoa!" Like I knew enough of the words and what they meant to be like, "Oh shit!" So I would like share it with my. I think I shared it with my best friend at the time, and we like would crack up listening to it, thinking it was like the funniest song in the world because it was so dirty, and then kind of goofy, like the way it sounds is very goofy. So that's one that I always, when I'm like I need a good goofy song. That's one that always cracks me up.
Well, that's the thing about it. You want to, and that's definitely a good one. I think things like the Humpty Dance, stuff like that. And just getting all out there ridiculous is what you want. Like when I look back to Parliament and they're wearing those space costumes in their 70s, and there's like, and I like is there's like 14 of them. So
Yeah.
like it's awesome because you're like, well, if I don't get along with this guy, I'll get along with one of the other 13, and we're a group, we're a band, and
Yeah.
I like that.
That is awesome. Yeah, they have some good stuff and funny lyrics sometimes too.
They do really ridiculous.
Yeah, they really
It's out there type of stuff, which, well, that's what we're looking for in this segment.
Yeah.
But you have any more?
I think when you were talking about Parliament, it made me think of, they came out with a new album in 2018, which was pretty incredible because, obviously, like, George Clinton's getting up there.
Yeah.
And so it was just kind of crazy. And the kind of single they released, I think it's called, I'm gonna make you sick of me. And that song is also goofy, but also it was like, he came on there and he does not sound like the George Clinton of yesteryear. So, and he sounds like he's sick in it. And I'm like, are you really sick or is this an act?
Well, they're playing Riot Fest. I'm curious to see how they're going to sound out there in the summertime if the spaceship is going to land.
Yeah, that is interesting. I saw them at Talia Hall back in, I think when this album came out, so 2018.
That would have been fun.
And it was fun, but I think he ended up sitting down a lot and others took over for him.
Well, I've heard that a lot too. Like he kind of like is in the background, maybe comes out for a song or two.
Yeah.
Goes back.
It's still an amazing experience because like you said, there's so many people and it's like a family thing now at this point. So definitely still worth seeing. But yeah, it was just a different way of seeing things,
Yeah, definitely. Before we head out here, what is one of your favorite concert experiences?
Dang, that's a tough question.
Or maybe just kind of something that you're glad that you got to see that because you might have missed it if you didn't see it. Anything off that comes to the top of your head? Because it sounds like off the top of but you've seen a lot of awesome shows.
I have seen some good shows. Luckily, thankfully. So
what was like your first show?
My first show ever.
Yeah.
Was Hootie and the Blowfish.
Oh, nice. Darius Rucker and the gang. Nice.
Yeah, good stuff.
That is good.
I feel like Vertical Horizon might have opened.
Oh,
yeah. I was in like 6th grade. It was pretty.
Do you remember the video by chance for Everything You Want?
I do. Yeah.
I remember really stupidly. We were in high school and there was a scene in the video where he's like sitting on a park bench and like he puts his arm out around this girl, and we thought it would be cool to like try that on a park bench. It didn't work. It was really stupid, but because you brought up Vertical Horizon, I don't know if I'll ever be able to bring that up on the show again. So that's
everybody
cool.
will know.
Yes.
Yeah, I think also while we were talking, there's so many things I've seen that I really, really loved. There are two I can think of that stand out to me besides Hootie and the Blowfish, obviously. There's the band Starfucker. I hope you allow cusses on your
yeah. No. Bad over.
We're gonna have to put explicit on this.
It's done.
They put on a really great show. I've seen them twice. They do a lot of like props and costumes and shooting out like confetti cannons, and it's just I don't know if they still do that, but they did it the last 2 times I saw them, which again was kind of a while ago now. And then I saw Kamasi Washington live, and he was amazing. Just like incredible vibe. Yeah, I don't know beyond that. Just like a very like I am here.
I like that. A very eclectic mix. Very awesome. Which is, well, that's what you want. Like I try to say that all the time. There's a lot of people who are always like, you don't listen to this enough or that enough, and I go, what more can I listen to? I know exactly what you know. Right. But now I know this other stuff, and they're like, you know what? That's what's great.
Yeah.
We like cool stuff like this track right here.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining me tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was
Really
always fun.
awesome. I know you got a lot of stuff to do, so I really appreciate it.
No, I appreciate you. I love
you will-
talking about this always. It's the best.
Definitely. We'll definitely do it again soon. And now that we know that we could talk about anything musically, just like movies, it's always awesome. You want to anything you want to share or anything?
Yeah, sure. I'm pretty sure I absolutely misspelled my handle in this. But yeah, I can correct this here. I don't know if anybody can even see it, but if anybody wants to follow me on Twitter.
Well, I'll put your name. It's all going to go
sweet.
into the comments and stuff, so don't worry. It'll
Good.
be. They will know. They will
it.
know the awesomeness.
I'm not. I'm just here to chat. So
That's it.
I don't really
That's
have
all we
anything else
all
to
are. We're all here to chat and just have some laughs and have a good time
Exactly.
and talk music. So thank you so much again.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Awesome. I will talk to you soon. Thank you.
Cool.
Well, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. My name is Tony, and as always, this is the Hookup on Film. You can find us, as always, at the Penguin Sadistic Twitter handle. You can find up the Hookup on Music Instagram handle. You can find me at the Sugar Baggie, and this podcast is available wherever you find podcasts. Thank you so much again for joining us. Please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. Thank you so much again for my guest, Keelin. It was amazing. We had a ridiculous time talking about killer clowns from outer space. And, well, the name of this episode is going to be called Killer Tunes from Outer Space. So please keep tuning in. And thank you so much.